This woman actually came to our very first Foolishness Friday Live. I didn't know she was in the audience. I saw her. I was like, what? Let me find out Aunt Viv is here from Bel Air. Let me welcome the amazing Cassie Freeman.
Oh, yay! Thank you. It's so crazy because I was there that night with my girlfriend, Susan Watson, who used to be on This Is Us. She played Sterling Brown's wife, and she just texted me right now. And I'm like, she must know I'm talking to Kate. It's not about you, Susan. Okay, it's about me. Hi there, Kate. Thanks for having me.
Come on through with the hair. Her hair is like, it's giving us everything. It's giving us Lioness. It's giving us Diana Ross from the.
It's hot rollers. It's hot rollers. Okay. Listen, hot rollers do Jesus work. Okay. The way these girls come through, it's like, I feel like it looks like I just left a salon with a blowout. And no, it's just hot rollers. Okay.
Yeah. Lovely. I'm loving Aunt Viv's hair choices on this season, Bel Air. You got the cornrows. You got like who? So who's making those decisions? Cassie Freeman.
Okay. Well, it's a collaboration. Before the season starts, we start talking about like, what do we want our hair and makeup and clothes to look like? And me and Roxy, who is the head of hair, I sent her like a Pinterest board of ideas of like what we want to do. And I feel like because Viv was like a politician's wife, now that she's been unshackled and now that she's like embraced her artistic side, I think she just, it's what she gets to be the thing that she always wanted to be, which is like, oh, let me do the braids now, let me do this look, let's do this. I think she's just much more playful with her hair. I think it's not even, we didn't even get to go exactly where I want to go. And you'll see where I really want to go next season, which is like just the idea of what is a Black woman's version of bedhead? Like, can we make bedhead for a Black woman beautiful too? Like, I just want her to just more and more fall in love with herself in the natural state as much as possible.
Okay, so you just told us there is a season 3, which I saw y'all announce already. So, but I'm seeing some fissures because the first season it was you and that green-eyed monster who always comes in and messes with people's lives. Yeah, Michael Ealy, either he gonna kill you or something's gonna go bad with Mike. I said this ain't gonna end well for Phil and Viv. So he's not there this season so far. But now Phil got an ex-flame that's coming in the picture. I was like, they always gonna bring some drama. So I feel like the bedhead, you're giving us some hints that there's gonna be some bed crying head something going on next season. I don't know.
Listen, I don't know what you're talking about. Me and Uncle Phil doing great. I love our relationship because, it's about the challenge of love. It's like as soon as you choose someone, Lord, there's always someone throwing rocks at the house, man. So now it's this other woman. And, that woman was really, she was the one who got away for him. And he's the one, that's a complicated thing. But I'm sure only good things will happen.
All right, let me ask Cassie Freeman. First of all, the show this season, we see old Ashley there with new Ashley.
Tatiana. Yeah.
We see second Aunt Viv is back. Second Aunt Viv is back, not the original Aunt Viv. But now I'm seeing y'all settle in. Has Cassie Freeman ever had a love like the love she has? Because I love your relationship with Uncle Phil, who is sexy as hell, by the way. Yes, all of the things. You get to rub up on that man. Have you personally ever had all of that? Because it's a lot. And y'all are so real with each other.
I know, right? I mean, I like to hope I have that with my husband.
Okay, all right.
You're like, amen. Let's write that down.
Yeah.
Been with my husband for like 9 years. And the reason I picked him is that my husband, he's a lot like Uncle Phil, but the vanilla version of Uncle Phil. But my husband, he's like so smooth and he's so calm. Like, I don't care what is happening. Nothing ruffles my husband's feathers. He has such a deep, old vessel of a soul. I always say, he's got like a lot of healing energy in him. And my husband is slow to be jealous. Like, I've actually never seen him jealous in 9 years. He's always like, well, of course. He's like, people buy beautiful things. People will admire beautiful things. He's like, he just wants me to be free and happy. My husband's a yes and person. I say, honey, can I? Yes and live your best life. That's what he always tells me,
Oh, how'd you meet him?
My husband, he's a sound designer. So he does post sound. So he's the one, he's like the last place your TV or film goes to before the public sees it. And I did a movie years ago with Isaiah Washington called Blue Caprice. And I met my husband at the after party of the premiere. And this man comes over to me and he's like, I saw you every day on my movie screen. And I was like, please get out of here. I have no time for this. And the way I did that was I gave him my phone number and then he called me for a year and I didn't answer any of those calls, never went on a date. And then I bumped into him at my girlfriend's party. And I was like, oh, here's this person again, Tom Paul. Like, who is this person? And she's like, Tom Paul. What are you talking about? Everyone's at a crush with Tom. He don't go out with anybody. I'm like, this man, he's called me 20 times. She's like, what? And this was like my girl, like she's like my, sister from another mister. And I was like, she has like affinity for this man. I was like, fine, it's a New Year's resolution. It was February. I said, I'll go out on a date with him. I said, I'm gonna date people outside my circle. How did we go on that first date? We meet up at this restaurant. He's 10 minutes late. I'm like, strike two. I knew I shouldn't be here. As soon as he walked through the door, it was like I had never seen him before. And when we hugged, it felt like I found home, and we've never stopped embracing each other ever since then. I tell people, you learn a lot about a person with a hug. Most men in my life would give me these like tepid hugs. To me, a tepid hug is like a horrible handshake. I'm like, oh, I don't want none of that. And his hug felt like you are safe to stay here as long as you want. And that's the truth. I mean, on my best days, he's wonderful, but on my worst days is why he's here. Who he is on my worst days is just amazing. He could write a book on how to be a solid rock.
Wow. Thank you. We were in Atlanta this past Sunday for Foolishness Friday, the third one that we sold out. And a brother got up to ask a question about Black men and women, or men and women, and friction. And Dante said, look around the room. Look at this man right there holding his wife, and all in the room was nothing but love. And we don't celebrate it enough. We don't talk about it enough. It is, we zone in on the friction, but we don't talk about this. So thank you for
and it exists, and it's an inside job before you can get it on the outside often. Before my husband, Lord honey, I was in some messy relationships. And after my worst relationship, I was like, what? The problem must be me. And I thought, what is happening here? And what I saw was that the way I talked to myself when no one was looking wasn't really kind either. And I thought, of course, I brought this crazy man in. So, I took a break and I literally dated myself. There's this movie I tell people I call Runaway Bride, and Richard Gere, it's a Richard Gere, Julia Roberts movie, y'all. And let me tell you, the movie was profound. It's sometimes the simplest movies that will have like these profound moments. And there's this moment where Richard Gere says to Julia Roberts, yeah, you're the runaway bride because you don't even know who you are. He's like, I interviewed every man you were ever engaged to, and they all said you took your eggs differently. And it hit me because I thought, oh, that's me. My eggs are whatever his eggs are. It's like, I want my steak the way he wants his steak. And I thought, no, I should know for certain what I want so I can bring in certainty. Be certain to bring in some certainty, honey. And so that's what happened. So when I met my husband, I remember even on that night when I bumped into him again after a year, he was like, can I get you a drink? And I was like, sure, you can get me a drink. And then he puts his hand around my waist and brought me in. And I took his hand and I took it off of me. And I said, you know what sexy is? Respect. That's not respect. You don't know me. And my husband was like, he just loved that was the energy I brought, because the new Cassandra was like, I'm very certain about who I am and what I want. Okay, this is not. So throughout the relationship, I kept being like, no, I don't do that. I do that. I expect this. I don't expect that. But all with love and playfulness,
Was there something that happened that brought you there besides the bad relationship? Was there a book? Because usually it could have been just a movie. When we're on these journeys, all kinds of seeds and guides and tools will present themselves. It's like the teacher comes when the student is ready. So was there a book or some sort of guide or something that led you on this discovery?
The only book listen, first of all, I'm a student of learning from other people's lives. So I'm like, I love reading memoirs. So I've read so many different memoirs. Barbara Streisand, Diana Ross, Nelson Mandela, Malcolm X. I've read so many books, but also like whether it's Eckhart Tolle or Joe Dispenza, like people who are really about, I'm just searching for what is this experience here about? What is it for? And so I feel like you just put all those things together, and like The Alchemist, like there's just so many books I've read. And there was a book that someone handed to me around that time. And it was a book about dating yourself. I remember it was purple and white. Was it The Power of Self, or it was like a book about dating yourself. And, I did a couple of those exercises, but what I started to do was I got on a dating website, and it was so educational. I would get on these dating websites like Match.com, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this like business. I'm gonna go on here, and I'm gonna like be like work. I'm gonna answer this many messages for an hour. I'm gonna stay on here for an hour and then leave. I really looked at it as work. And what I really knew was that my life would not be complete if I just made it about my career. I have to be honest, I actually want a family. And that doesn't mean I need to have a kid, but I do know I want like a husband and like rituals and things. And so I think, again, once I got certain, before then, I was just dating for the fun of it and for the excitement. And the thing that kept coming back in therapy and in these books is that when you meet like a good person in your life, it's like when you meet your best girlfriend. When you meet your best girlfriend, it's not like you get like tingly feelings in your stomach. It's that you feel like you get to be more of yourself and more relaxed. And that's just what it felt like when I met my husband. And I just didn't feel like I needed to pretend to be anything else. And the same with him. And I just wanted him to be great. And he just wanted me to be great. It was just such a different dynamic. And so I used to tell people when I first did him, I used to be like, where you come from? And I would say, whoa, nice is the new sexy, like just like nice. Guys, niceness. You know how many men I would date and I would say, listen, if you just bring me some flowers after an argument, it'll mean a lot. And these dudes would be like, oh, so you think I'm a punk? Or you think I'm weak? And my husband just brings flowers for no reasons all the time.
Cassandra Freeman is here. If you're watching Bel Air, she's bringing all of the stability to the Bankses. This particular episode, you are trying to get your spades game on. And I was wondering, did you know how to play spades? Because this is an important question, Cassie Freeman. Can you play spades, or were you pretending that you couldn't play spades? And did you have to learn?
Oh, no, I was pretending. Spades? First of all, I'm known as the queen of spades. Okay. The disrespect they tried to do to Aunt Viv. And I went to Carla, our showrunner, and I said, listen, why are you out here playing me? Like I said, I went to Howard University. How did she escape Howard University, the DMV area, and not know how to play spades? And Carla's like, Cassie, I don't know how to play spades. I was like, what? And I just got off this other call, and this woman who is from a very famous magazine, and she was like, yeah, I don't know how to play spades. I was like, guys, how? I mean, listen, I know how to play. I take my game very seriously.
Okay, big joker, little joker, dude.
Adrian is the one who doesn't know how to play, who plays Uncle Phil. He don't know how to play spades. He's from Canada. Okay, so they let him.
Thank you. Okay, they should have flipped that around, but you redeemed yourself. But I was holding my breath, like, please don't let Cassie Freeman not know how to play spades, because I will have to judge her.
We all went to FAMU. Like, what are you talking about? There's no way. I was like, I can't believe they're trying to do. I said, well, then the scene better be I win this game. And so when I win, that's how I am. I'm like, this is my house. Okay, get out of here. I don't want nobody to talk. This is all my money. You sit in my seat. This is my table.
That's right. That's right. You did behave properly for a sore winner, is what I call it, because that's how you're supposed to behave at the spades table. Now, Florida is where you're from, and I'm sorry that your state is now a dumpster fire because you have a horrible governor. But Disney's trying to resurrect some semblance of normalcy in Florida. Tell me about growing up in Florida and now where we are in this nation. How are you raising children and stuff? Like what are you thinking?
That's a big question. I mean, first of all, yeah, I was born in West Palm Beach, Florida, and I grew up mostly in Jacksonville, which is like southern Georgia. And I tell people growing up there, racism was so thick. Like the high school that people would go to would be a high school that was named after the founder of the Ku Klux Klan, Robert E. Lee High School. That's where people went to school. I went to a place where if you saw like the Confederate flag, I took that as a sign of, oh, so we just don't go in that direction. I look back on it now, like how kind that was. They were like, y'all Negroes, don't come this side of the tracks. Okay. I have so many stories like that. But that being said, I lived in like a great neighborhood full of like, middle class or struggling middle class Black people. And like my next door neighbor was like, he basically, his backyard was like a junkyard. I think he was like a scraps person. And like his backyard was like Disney World to me, And so I grew up with a really big imagination, standing on his like barbecue grill that was made out of bricks, one of those old school ones that are made of bricks. But no one used it. So I used it as like my own stage. And like there were big magnolia trees, and the magnolias would be like my microphone. And I would like do shows, and with no one but my Barbie dolls and stuff. And just, I had a great childhood in many ways. And like I could play in the streets at night until the lights came on. And then I'd watch TV with my dad. I had a great life. And, I like to think I know my son right now, he has a great life. My son's 4 years old. I live here in Brooklyn. And like everywhere I turn, it's a friend. Like I can't walk down the street without talking to many people. And his friends are just like, there's like so many parks to go to in this neighborhood. I love my girlfriends who are all moms in this area. I know everyone who owns the restaurants in this area. And he's a bi-coastal kid. So when I shoot Bel Air, I'm in California, and I have like godparents there for him to play with. I've tried to give him a life full of fun and music and play. But it's a scary world out there. And Florida is leading the march of the scary.
Yeah.
But for my own mental health right now, I'm just, I do the best I can with tapping out of politics when I can, and then I tap back in, because it's overwhelming to be a mom right now. I mean, the school shootings, like my son, I'm not putting him in school because I'm too scared to put my child in school.
And I know you're not alone. Unfortunately, most people don't have the luxury, to be able to keep their children home. But, if it's life and death, I don't even know how people are navigating, because I mean, Nashville, Tennessee, come on. I mean, you don't even,
Yeah, it's terrifying. So, all I can do is what, but I think about my parents' generation and their parents' generation. It's like every generation has something really scary. And this is like the new scary of our times. My grandmother's scary was that, her kin would just be taken out of their front yard and put in jail just because they needed, slave labor, which was, prison labor, for no reason. And my uncle would be dragged from the back of a truck till his neck popped off, till his head popped off for no reason, just because white folks wanted to have fun with a Black man. Like horrible trauma has always happened in the Black community, but now it's like just open to everybody getting trauma, like just anybody going out. So I try to keep thinking myself like in perspective of history. And in the world of history, we're still in some of the best of times in the midst of worst of it, but every generation has a horrible time.